Hi, Robert Ferris here with CNBC, and this is the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT.
The Mustang Mach-E is Ford's most recent attempt at an electric vehicle.
The GT is the high-performance version. This car right here sells for $63,000 out the door, and it's meant to compete with EVs from Tesla and Audi and Jaguar and basically everybody else who's making an EV these days. The car handles like really tightly. It's a very tight driving vehicle, and it's very responsive. It goes 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, 3.5 seconds if you get the Performance Edition. And it gets about 270 miles on a single charge, 260 if you get the Performance Edition. So the Mach-E has won a bunch of awards. It was AAA Automobile Association of America Car of the Year for 2022. It's a Consumer Reports top pick. It actually unseated the Tesla Model 3. It was Car and Driver's EV of the Year. It's the first year that they gave the award. It has made quite a splash. And part of the reason why it has is it's got a combination of technology and design that a lot of people like, high performance, and just kind of a lot of amenities. Ford took kind of a gamble when they put the Mustang badge on an electric crossover, and it generated a bit of controversy among some of the Ford Mustang purists. But one of the things that a lot of people like about this car, and one of the reasons why it's taking so many top honors and awards, is that it combines a lot of different things into one package. It's got a lot of high performance. The steering is really tight. The accelerator pedal is very responsive. There are these different drive modes. So there are 3 different drive modes in this car. There's the Whisper mode, which is going to be kind of the quietest, serenest driving mode. It's going to shut down a lot of sounds inside the vehicle. It's going to soften the acceleration and the deceleration. So that's the Whisper mode. The second option is an Engage mode, and that's going to be a little bit more active and supposedly a little bit more fun. There might be some additional sounds and things like that, a little bit more responsive. The third option is the Unbridled mode, and that's going to be the Sport or Performance mode. That's going to tighten the steering and make this thing drive much more like a real sports car. That's what you would use if you were going to take this to the track. But it's a crossover. It's got 4 seats, 4 doors. You can stuff a lot of stuff in the back. It's got a lot of storage space. Also, some people, such as Consumer Reports, found that the vehicle was a little bit easier to use, like the menus were a little bit easier to use. All right, so in the center of the dash here in all of these Mach-E vehicles, you have this big screen. You see a lot of these big screens now in cars, and this is basically where almost everything in the vehicle is controlled. There are some buttons on the steering wheel, but a lot of things are done through this interface. One of the things about EVs, of course, that can be kind of annoying is that you have to charge them. So right now I have 183 miles of range on here. This has about a 270 mile range total. So my battery's at about 76% full, but I'd like to go and charge. So we've just pulled over to a charging station on the side of the road here in a small town outside of New York City. Ford has its own network, what it calls the Blue Oval Charge Network. It says it has about 75,000 chargers across the United States, and it says that in one of its DC fast chargers, it can charge a vehicle 54 miles worth of range in 10 minutes. It says payment required. So how do I pay? Download and launch the EV Connect app. Oh, brother. So we'll go and we'll get my phone. So this is a lot more involved than just filling up at the gas station. So now I've got to register, and I have to give them a lot of personal information. We'll open it up, and it looks like it's a pretty universal connector, and it pops right in. So according to this vehicle spec sheet, it has an 88 kilowatt hour battery. And here at this charging station, it costs 25 cents per kilowatt hour to charge a vehicle. So that means to charge this thing from empty to full would cost 22 bucks. Go ahead and unplug. There, done. Now, there are a couple of things to keep in mind about this vehicle. First of all, you can't actually order any of these right now. If you go to the Ford website, you'll see that they're not accepting any more orders for the current model year. Ford said that the order banks are going to begin opening back up in summer of 2022. But for now, if you want one of these, you're going to have to go and find a dealer who has one in stock, and that might not be easy to find. Another thing that's important to keep in mind about this is that there already have been some recalls on these vehicles, including one recall that affected 48,000 Mach-E's. The problem can be solved with a software update at the dealer, but it is something to keep in mind. One of the things about this vehicle is it has one pedal driving, which means that when you take your foot off the accelerator, it actually will just automatically start slowing the car down. So that's really handy for driving in traffic, or if you're driving in an environment where you're going to need to slow down really quickly. Another thing to keep in mind is that although the Mach-E lineup overall has garnered a lot of awards, this particular version is not necessarily better than any of its closest rivals.
For example, the Tesla Model Y Performance costs around $70,000.
It also goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, but the Model Y has an EPA estimated range of about 303 miles per charge, whereas this only gets about 260, 270.
The Mach-E has so far impressed reviewers and stands out in a segment that is not terribly crowded. Yet.